focus on what I consider the top 3 social networking tools for job search: LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. But before I go into specifics on each one, I want to encourage all of you to first think through your networking objectives. Before you get all fired up and start tweeting out to the head of HR at Nike, or attempt to strike up a big conversation with the CEO of American Airlines, you really got to ask yourself first a few questions. And these are: number 1, what am I trying to accomplish through this interaction? Number 2, who do I need to reach out to in order to accomplish this? And finally, what method or methods are likely going to work the best? Here's an example. Say I want to work for Lone Star Advertising. I've heard great things about them, but I don't even know if they're hiring. So my networking objective might look something like this. Find out if Lone Star Advertising is hiring, and if so, what positions are available. Find an in at this company who is either a hiring manager or someone who might be willing to connect me with the hiring manager. And then position myself as an outstanding match for an entry-level position at Lone Star Advertising. Now this is really a simple example, but you're going to set your networking objectives, and then you're going to ask yourself, who do I need to reach in order to accomplish these objectives? Doesn't my husband look like he's accomplishing something there? I'm telling you, that guy's got some energy. Anyway, who do I need to reach in order to accomplish these objectives? List out the name of the hiring manager, if you can figure that out, or others who might be of influence within this company. Maybe it's the creative director, maybe it's the VP of HR, or a staffing manager. And then finally, the most important piece to setting your networking objectives, ask yourself what specific networking methods are going to work the best to get me where I want to go. For me, I've deduced through my research that Lone Star is a pretty current, youthful, energetic kind of agency. So I'm figuring that their employees are over on Twitter. So then I'm going to incorporate Twitter into my strategy. I also found the HR director's profile on LinkedIn and a few high-level people within that company. So LinkedIn will be another key method I'm going to use to network myself in to Lone Star. The key point here is that you really need to set objectives before you go racing off and start networking via social media. It's way too easy to make rookie mistakes, or worse, make the very person that you're trying to connect with and impress feel completely ambushed if you haven't thought things through in advance. All right, let's spend a little bit of time talking about specific networking tactics that you can use to your advantage in job search. First up, LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. If any of you already follow along over on JobJenny.com, you probably realize that I have a serious crush on LinkedIn.com. It's that awesome for job seekers. I can't emphasize the value of LinkedIn.com enough. So if you're even the slightest bit intimidated by firing up a full-scale social media networking campaign, if you're going to use just one tool, make it LinkedIn. Joshua Waldman's actually here today. I don't know if you caught his first presentation, but be sure and catch his LinkedIn for Job Search presentation. I think it's next, because he will give you a lot of specific thoughts on how you can use LinkedIn. I'll share a few. Why is LinkedIn so important to you guys? As of August 2011, there were 120 million members on LinkedIn across 200 countries. These are professional employed adults. 120 million professional employed adults. That's pretty much the exact type of person that you want to be networking with, right? LinkedIn is also also an excellent platform for you to use to share your status as a job seeker with a wide group of people. And to play, and you know what I'm talking about? And a place for you to leverage your personal connection for professional gain. Okay, LinkedIn status updates. A lot of people don't even realize that in LinkedIn you can post status updates. Or if you realize it, you don't use it. And that really confounds me because it's a great resource. If you begin to regularly update your LinkedIn network on the things related to your search, or if you report on, say, a professional conference that you've attended, or share something that showcases your passion and your excitement for the field that you have chosen and that you're trying to break into, do you want to know what happens? You create opportunity for conversation. You keep yourself top of mind among the people in your network, and you brand yourself as someone who is engaged and excited about your professional future. And that matters to people like me, the recruiter who's going into LinkedIn to look for you. That matters to the hiring managers who are looking for you as well. Think about it like Facebook. If you just stopped updating your Facebook audience and never post any status updates, what happens? They completely forget about you. Yeah, they might wonder from time to time, hey, I wonder what Joe's up to. I never see him over here anymore. But if you're not there and regularly appearing in their news feeds, you're not top of mind. And if you are there, top of mind. And that's a vital aspect of networking, showing up. But here's an important note about LinkedIn status updates. You don't want to come across as annoying or desperate or really boring. So once again, apply some thought and some strategy to what you're going to post in your LinkedIn status updates. But use it, and use it frequently. Okay, another reason I love LinkedIn is that it provides an incredibly easy way for you to study companies, the companies that you want to go and work for. And then, here's where the networking comes in. Once you've studied them, you can figure out the players within these companies and communicate with them. Right there, in one spot. It's magical. Perhaps the most astoundingly powerful way to use LinkedIn for job search networking? 2 words. That's actually 4. 2 words. Job, that's 3 words. LinkedIn groups. How many of you belong to groups within LinkedIn? Oh, good. Okay, and among you, how many participate in the forums and discussions going on within the groups on LinkedIn? Okay, a lot fewer. I can't possibly convey to you how powerful LinkedIn groups can be for job search networking. There are thousands of groups on LinkedIn, most of which have few or 0 prerequisites to become a member of those groups. So it's very easy to get into a group. Industry groups, job seeker groups, alumni groups, special interest groups. There are lots and lots of groups. You need to pick a handful of them. Pick groups that you feel will expose you to the kinds of people that will be beneficial to your career path. Because that's really what it's all about. Exposing yourself to and interacting with people who are going to be or could be potentially great for your career progression. Maybe they're not useful immediately, but you want to build and grow with these people. For those of you who are already using groups, you probably understand that there are also job postings within the groups on LinkedIn, right? Recruiters and HR people, more and more, we post jobs within specific groups on LinkedIn. Why do we do this? For one, it's free, at least for now. So we'll go into a very specific group and post our job within the job boards there. We post here because we can be incredibly targeted, and we can find a very specific segment of skills or background within the candidates. For instance, I'm a robotics industry recruiter. I will go into the Robotics Industry Association group and advertise one of my clients, and the clients are the companies doing the hiring. I will advertise one of their robotic engineering positions, and I will get some very specifically talented people applying for that job. Whereas if I put that same one over on Monster.com, it costs several hundreds of dollars for our firm to put it there. But also, I will get a very, very wide swath of people applying. Some of them will be robot engineers. Some of them went to robot camp when they were 12. So then I will have to weed through all of that. Much more effective for me as the reviewer to post in a very niche group. And so for you as a job seeker, this can be an incredibly good resource because you can find and apply for jobs that are targeted to your field of interest if you find and participate in groups that are relevant to your field. Okay, here's one of my best sneaky tips for anyone trying to capture the attention of someone on LinkedIn that you're not already connected with. Are you ready? I use this one all the time. When you find someone who could be a vital contact for you at a company that maybe you want to work at, don't ever send them some generic, I want to be your friend request. It's just not going to work for you. You're going to look very newbie and very unprofessional. As far as I'm concerned, don't use a LinkedIn in-mail either. I don't really like in-mail. It feels very ambushy to me. Do this instead. When you find someone working at a company of interest that you want to communicate with directly, scroll down and review which groups they are in. If you're not already a co-member of one of these same groups, join one of the same groups. Because once you're both in the same group on LinkedIn, you can email that person directly, even if you're not officially networked together. And this is incredibly valuable. That person, by the way, they have no clue that you've just gone onto their profile, joined the same group for the sole purpose of hooking up with them. They don't know that you've done that. And so you want to send them an email. Something like, hey Fred, we're both members of the Word Lovers group on LinkedIn. Can't help but notice that you work for Scrabble. Man, I've had my eye on Scrabble since I've been a teenager. I would love to work there. Can I ask you just 2 quick questions? Think about the questions you want to ask them. Let me tell you, there is so much power in this we're in the same group together thing. It's almost like a fraternal feeling that people have. You create an instant camaraderie that doesn't make the receiver feel like, oh, I'm being ambushed by this cold call stranger. Instead, they feel more like, hey, this guy from my club is reaching out. Yeah, I'm going to help him. It works really, really well, and I highly recommend it. Just don't send your resume on that first contact. Don't even suggest that you want to. No ambushing allowed. Speaking of ambushing, all I'm going to say is don't. You've got to approach in a way that first builds a little rapport. Maybe you compliment them on some article that they've authored, or tell them how much you love something that is going on in their company or within their specific work group. Maybe you use a little bit of humor. I know it might come as a shock to you. I find that humor always goes a long way, so long as it's tasteful. Maybe you offer to help them out. Have you ever heard the term give to get? It's always easier to get something that you want if you first offer to give a little something of value, even if it's something small. The bottom line is you've got to go in with the assumption that you're going to need to build a little bit of rapport before you ask them to walk your resume over to their manager or go to bat for you. I use this analogy that you see up here. Would you ever dream of walking into a bar up to a stranger and say, hey, will you marry me? Right. Of course you wouldn't. So don't ask a stranger on LinkedIn to help you get a job without first building a little bit of a bond with them. So that's LinkedIn. And again, if you're going to use just one job search, a social media tool for job search, make it LinkedIn. And be sure to go to Joshua's thing, the next event. But Twitter and Facebook, they can also be really vital job search networking tools.